Hi, this will be a continuation of the previous video where we're going to continue building our custom UI controls with Swift and UIKit. In the previous video, we had created a custom control, and it kind of draws this little arc on the screen there, right? We'll take a quick look at it here. And one of the problems now is that in order to test our project, or see what's going on, we actually have to test the project. So if I test the project here, I can see the control and it's working, and I can tell how big it is and where it is on the screen. When I'm in storyboard though, and I'm laying out the design for my project, I can't see the arc on here. So I don't know how big it is or where it is, exactly inside this white box, right? And that's kind of a problem. Like, how can we fix that, right? Well, here's what we're gonna do, okay? I'm going to go to the circle path class, and you can see it says class circle path extends UI view, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add @IBDesignable, okay? And really this should go, it goes in front of class like this. Okay, so we mark our class at @IBDesignable, but if that makes the line here too long, you can put it up on the line above. So what does this do? Well, IBDesignable lets this class draw itself in storyboard. Okay, so when you're in storyboard, we'll be able to draw the view in here. Okay, and it kind of drew for a second there, and then it disappeared, right? It may not draw for you. We have to do a little bit more to get it to work, not much, right? So, so normally it'll draw in there, right? Now the problem is when we're drawing here, what we've done is we've drawn our shape in the initializer. So from the initializer, we're calling, init with frame, we're calling setup, and then all the drawing happens in setup, right? Now, storyboard doesn't quite pick up on this, or it seemed like it did for half a second there, but it really doesn't pick up on this, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to add another method here. Now, every view has a life cycle, and the view, there's certain events that happen that trigger the view and tell it what's going on. One of those events, right? And all these events, it's just like events that happen in your lifetime, right? One of these events is called layout subviews, okay? So one of the things that happens with a view is that it gets a message layout subviews whenever the view changes size, and this can happen when you have constraints applied to a view. So if constraints like stretch or position or resize a view, then storyboard, or the main program, sends our view a layout subviews call, and that allows our view to draw itself to fit its new size, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this method in here, layout subviews, right? So I'll just type it in there and let Xcode kind of finish code complete it for me. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the setup from init with frame and init with coder here, and then I'll add setup here in layout subviews, right? So we'll do this, right? And now when we go to storyboard, you'll see it'll take a second here, but when this little blue thing goes across, it'll draw our arc, right? Now, if your default value for the arc here, the value here, if it's 0, then it's not going to draw anything because it'll draw a 0% of the stroke. So you'll have to set this to some value. So if I set that to 1, then when I don't want to do that. I want to actually just go to storyboard now, right? So when I set this in storyboard to 1, then it should draw the entire arc, right? So you have to make sure that value is set. Otherwise, if it's set to 0, then it's drawing correctly, but not showing anything, right? So anyway, so that's IBDesignable, right? So IBDesignable is very useful. You can let your views draw themselves in storyboard, but we have to make sure that the drawing happens in a place where storyboard's going to pick it up. And there's a couple ways you can do that. I used layout subviews in this example, but you can also use the draw method to do it, okay? So anyway, so there we go. We'll continue in the next video, and we'll kind of talk about how we can configure things in when we draw them, right? Because what we'll want to do is we'll want to draw our view in here so that it resizes itself, right? So you can see it's kind of resizing here, and that's working pretty good. But, like this is a little weird. Maybe now it's too far from the edges. And then if I go up like this, now it's kind of outside, and that's kind of a problem, right? So we'll have to think of like a more sensible method of setting the size of the circle inside the rectangle, right? And I'll do that in the next video. So anyway, thanks for watching.